Hey YouTube, Smiling Skeptic back again. I've been fascinated by what people believe and why they believe it for many years now. Conspiracy theorists are a particular subset that capture my attention. Meet Bill. William Lee Greathouse is a conspiracy theorist, currently known on YouTube as Bill1224602. He's a very special conspiracy theorist. He's an outspoken member of True Force Loneliness, also known as TFL, a loose association of socially retarded, unintelligent misfits who are bitter at and suspicious of the world around them, specifically women, and the U.S. government, and all the world's governments. They are woman haters who suffer from shared paranoid delusions. Except they'll tell you they're the total opposite of all that.
Now what do you say if we form a new club and call it the He-Men Woman Haters Club?
I've been assembling a list of characteristics of conspiracy theorists. It's not a definitive list, but as I go through these, let's examine how they might apply to Bill. Number one, the projection of fiction or fantasy into real-life situations, people, or organizations.
Women, they don't have hearts. Oh, they claim they have a heart, but they don't. Their hearts are black and cold from the propaganda. They have severe problems with their mentalness because they don't understand nor care. See, the problem is they don't care.
Number two, a diminished ability to distinguish reality from fiction. Meet Lisa. This is from 2008. Lisa was supposed to be a lifelike robot companion for men that would do tasks from domestic chores to running simple errands to a deep tissue massage complete with a happy ending. This was Bill's perfect woman. Bill has used this video more than once as evidence of the extents to which lonely men are forced to go because of the way women treat them. If the unrealistic claims of what the robot could do weren't enough of a tip-off, less than 30 seconds on Google reveals that it's a hoax. We don't know what the purpose of the hoax was. Maybe it was someone's art project, but it is still clear it was a fake. Number three, a selective tendency to ignore evidence that is contrary to their belief and a tendency to skew the interpretation of evidence in a way that promotes their belief.
He's been brain raped by the media and the system, and he grew up with group thinking and thinking everything is about sex.
Number four, a lack of discrimination and identification of credible sources of information. I'll refer back to the Lisa robot thing. Number five, they establish an exaggerated us and them mentality. You will often see this as critics being quickly dismissed as either part of the conspiracy or duped by the conspiracists. Here's an example of that. Some time ago, a man named Steve Hoka was a significant part of the original TFL group, but then Steve went and did the unforgivable. He went and got laid. Did crazy old Bill express any joy for his TFL brother?
Fellas, I'll have to quit that club I joined last week.
Quit the club?
That's what I said.
Oh, you big fathead, what do you mean?
This way, I met a beautiful girl and fell head over heels in love.
Why, you must be out of your mind.
You're crazy.
What are you thinking of?
But I promised to marry her tonight.
Tonight? Why, don't you know if you violate the rules of the club, you're just as good as dead?
If you get married, you'll be carried out and bumped right on the head.
Down with the traitors of the Woman Haters Club.
Oh no, Bill went absolutely apeshit over this, expelled Steve from the group, and released a psychotic explosion of hate towards Steve on YouTube. Those videos have all been removed now, but Hoka was branded enemy number one of TFL. And finally, number six, rejection of the belief, particularly by the outgroup, is seen as validation of the theory.
You want to say that True Force Loneliness isn't real. You want to deny the truth when the truth is in your face. You think you can twist our words and manipulate what we say and make us look bad so that you can continue to hide behind your life of lies. Well, you go ahead, because the end of this video I put together for you is how most TFLers think of you people, and we can't wait for what's coming at the end of this video. We really can't, because you people deserve it.
And what he was referring to at the end of the video was a bunch of movie scenes depicting earth-ending disasters and mushroom clouds. The solution to your loneliness is a mass extinction event, Bill? It's kind of short-sighted, isn't it? Now, of course, this list wouldn't exist if it wasn't for an underlying issue. Try to think of an example of each of these indicators for Bill as I run through them. Number one, expresses an idea or belief with unusual persistence or force. Number 2, that idea appears to exert an undue influence on his or her life, and the way of life is often altered to an inexplicable extent. Number 3, despite his or her profound conviction, there is often a quality of secretiveness or suspicion when the patient is questioned about it. Number 4, the individual tends to be humorless and oversensitive, especially about the belief. Number 5, there is a quality of centrality. No matter how unlikely it is that these strange things are happening to him, the patient accepts them relatively unquestioningly. Number 6, an attempt to contradict the belief is likely to arouse an inappropriately strong emotional reaction, often with irritability and hostility. Number 7, the belief is, at the least, unlikely and out of keeping with the patient's social, cultural, and religious background. Number 8, the patient is emotionally overinvested in the idea and it overwhelms other elements of his or her psyche. Number 9, the delusion, if acted out, often leads to behaviors which are abnormal and or out of character, although perhaps understandable in the light of the delusional beliefs. And finally, number 10, individuals who know the patient will observe that his or her belief and behavior are uncharacteristic and alien. I identified probably 8 out of those 10 that could probably fit, and only because I don't know Bill well enough, I couldn't nail him on the last 2. Those are the indicators that someone is suffering from delusional disorder. There is also one feature of delusional disorder that is quite interesting. The individual experiences a heightened sense of self-reference. Events which to others are non-significant are of enormous significance to him or her, and the atmosphere surrounding the delusions is highly charged. Listen to Bill's rants. Nothing is written off to chance. Everything is a deliberate action, and everything is significant. Bill, if you're watching this, recognize that beliefs that are not well-founded drive things like conspiracy theories. People such as David Icke come to mind. Icke believes that the Earth has been infiltrated by a race of shape-shifting godlike transdimensional lizard people who live in tunnels inside the Earth and feed off the negative energy of the human race, and that all of the world's leaders are actually the hybrid spawn of these beings and humans, created through a selective interbreeding process. That's pretty batshit crazy, right? You'd probably agree with me that Icke is clearly delusional. But this is actually his version of what you call the New World Order, and his belief is no less spectacular than yours. There's a subset of delusional disorder called the persecutory type. Borrowing heavily from Wikipedia here, it's the most common type of delusion, and they involve the themes of being followed, harassed, cheated, poisoned, or drugged, conspired against, spied on, attacked, or obstructed in the pursuit of goals. Sometimes they can be well-organized belief systems involving a complex set of delusions. For example, your crazy New World Order, sisterhood of women controlling the world's governments who are systematically poisoning us, and so on. These systems of beliefs can be so broad and complex that they can explain everything that happens to the person. Think that fits, Bill? There are a whole host of other mechanisms that keep your carousel of craziness spinning, but one final thing, Bill, and this goes to the reason why it all seems so hopeless for you. It's a phenomenon of mental conditioning called learned helplessness. It's basically a mental reaction to a seemingly hopeless situation without end. When you spend enough time with outcomes of things, especially negative things, seemingly entirely out of your control or at someone else's whim, the mind conditions a certain kind of acceptance of the state. It can bring on or perpetuate a clinical depression and make it chronic. If you've ever suffered from this, you know how debilitating it can be. I'm going to read a little bit from Wikipedia on the social impact of learned helplessness. Another example of learned helplessness in social settings involves loneliness and shyness. Those who are extremely shy, passive, anxious, and depressed may learn helplessness to offer stable explanations for unpleasant social experiences. However, Gottlieb and Beatty in 1985 found that people who cite helplessness in social settings may be viewed poorly by others, resulting in a situation that reinforces the problematic thinking. So as you can see, it's a nice little vicious cycle that you're in here. TFL has not helped you discover how to be strong, or has revealed any great truth to you. All you've learned is to accept being helpless. You've locked yourself into a self-perpetuating circle of delusional despair. Now, I'm no professional, but I think I've made enough observations that would make a normal person want to seek at least a professional opinion on this. Bill, you preach how you create your own killers. No, Bill, you're creating the killers. Your group is creating the situation, the perfect storm, if you will, of a group of emotionally damaged individuals poking at each other's wounds with a message of perpetual despair until one of them snaps. It's only a matter of time. You're not healing anything. But the good news, Bill, is that this is fixable. It all boils down to 3 words. Seek professional help. That's a whole lot of whoop-ass to lay on poor old Bill for one night, so I think I'd end this on a positive note. Let's hear from Bill's one and only friend, who I've asked to say a nice word about Wild Bill. Take it away, Dwayne Holloway.
So we both started noticing something. So we turned around, and I looked at Bill, and Bill looked at me. Bill and myself went down on Bill's tripod. I pretty much fulfilled that dream just the other day, so it was really cool.
I've killed a hell of a lot of people to get to this point, and I am gonna kill Bill.